I was finally getting the proposal I'd dreamed of until my boyfriend burst out laughing and said it was all just a social experiment for his YouTube channel. My entire family was there. His subscribers were watching live. But what he didn't know, I had secrets of my own and receipts. It was an ordinary Sunday. We were on our usual monthly beach trip, just family, close friends, bare feet in the sand, sun on our shoulders, and nothing to do but laugh, eat, and be. The kind of day you never want to end. And then, it happened. He got down on one knee right in front of our families, our closest friends, and half of Southern California. His eyes locked on mine. Everyone gasped. My best friend Brooke started crying immediately. His dad shouted, "It's about time!" And me? I was frozen, heart pounding, face flushed, every part of me screaming. Finally. We'd been together 4.5 years. Through his job layoffs, my mom's cancer, 2 moves, and one very rocky year that nearly broke us. But we made it. I thought we made it. I started nodding before he even finished saying, "Will you marry me?" My voice cracked when I said yes, and everyone clapped, phones out, snapping photos, videos, the whole cliché. But that moment, that exact second, Logan burst out laughing. Not smiling, not nervous laughter, I mean cackling. Like, full body, doubled over, breathless laughter. I blinked, still holding the cake fork in my hand like a weapon. "What?" I said. He stood up, wiping tears of laughter from his eyes, and looked around like we were all in on the same joke. "Oh my God," he said, between chuckles. "You guys? Her face, priceless." My mouth went dry. Then he said it, loud enough for everyone to hear, even the strangers on the boardwalk. "It was just a prank, babe, for the channel." And just like that, the ring box was empty. My fingers were trembling. My whole body went cold. At first, people laughed, nervous laughter, like this was a bit they weren't quite in on. Then came the silence. My dad stepped forward. "What the hell, Logan?" "And Logan?" He grinned. "Relax, it's going to go viral. I swear, she's gonna laugh about this later." That's when Brooke grabbed my hand. "Are you okay?" she whispered. I wasn't, but I smiled. Because something in me had snapped quietly, cleanly. The kind of snap that doesn't make a sound at first, but splits everything wide open later. I looked around at all these people I loved waiting for me to react. And Logan, standing there smug, still filming, still thinking he had the upper hand. I don't remember standing up. 1 second, I was kneeling on that blanket, cake melting in the sun beside me. The next, I was brushing sand off my legs with shaking hands and giving Logan a smile so fake it physically hurt. "Oh my God," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You got me." His face lit up like a Christmas tree. "Right, you were totally convinced." I nodded, heart hammering, mouth dry. I could feel the weight of everyone's eyes, our friends, his mom, even that random couple 2 blankets over who'd started recording when they saw the ring box come out. I don't know what possessed me to play along. Maybe survival instinct, maybe pride. Maybe I just didn't want to fall apart in a bikini with waterproof mascara melting down my face in 80-degree heat. I took a step toward Logan and kissed his cheek. "Good one," I whispered. He squeezed my waist like we were on the same team, like he hadn't just taken the most vulnerable moment of my life and broadcast it for laughs. "Wait till you see the footage," he said, already fiddling with the GoPro strapped to his chest. "I got your reaction perfectly. You looked so serious, like, full tears. You're gonna break the internet." I wanted to throw up. Brooke was staring at me, horrified. Logan's sister Jenna looked like she was about to cry. My dad was still frozen, arms crossed, jaw clenched. "Hey, sweetheart," my mom said gently. "Are you okay?" I looked her dead in the eye and said, "I'm fine. Lie." Logan was already uploading a teaser clip to his Insta story. "Okay, guys, that was legendary," he said into the camera, spinning it around to show me behind him. She totally fell for it. Proposal prank executed perfectly. More on the vlog tonight. He didn't notice I wasn't smiling anymore. He didn't notice I wasn't next to him anymore. I walked straight to Brooke, who immediately threw a towel over my shoulders and whispered, "What do you want to do?" "I want to leave," I said. "Done," she said. "I've got my keys. Let's go." I didn't even look back. Let Logan have his audience. Let him laugh it up. Let him collect views and likes and comments from strangers who thought it was all hilarious. But me, I was done performing. Because Logan didn't just humiliate me. He showed me who he really was. A man who thought love was content. That trust was a setup. That I was clickbait. Brooke's car smelled like coconut air freshener and secrets. I slid into the passenger seat, still wearing my towel like armor, hands clenched in my lap. The second she pulled away from the beach parking lot, the silence cracked. "You don't have to be calm right now, you know," she said quietly. "You're allowed to fall apart." I stared out the window. If I fall apart now, I'm scared I won't stop. Because the truth is, it wasn't just about the prank. Not really. That was just the grand finale, the glitter-covered middle finger at the end of a show I hadn't even known I was in. It was the build-up. The 1,000 little moments before today that suddenly made too much sense. Like how Logan had been obsessing over engagement reaction videos for the last few weeks, showing me clips like, look how dramatic she gets, this one got 4 million views. Or how he kept saying things like, you'd make a great viral moment, babe. I thought he was teasing. I thought it was hypothetical. He was planning it. He was planning this. Brooke's voice snapped me back. Where do you want to go? Your place? I shook my head instantly. No. That's his too. Hotel? I hesitated. Then I said, your place. Just for now. We pulled into her driveway, and I barely made it inside before the tears came. Not loud, messy sobs, just silent, steady ones. The kind that leak out while you're still trying to pretend you're fine. She made me tea. Real tea, not the store brand bags we used to microwave in college. I wrapped both hands around the mug like it could anchor me to something solid. My phone buzzed. Once. Then again. Then again. I didn't even need to check to know who it was. First came the text. Babe, where'd you go? Wait, are you actually mad? Come on, you know it was just a joke. People loved it. Then came the call. I stared at the screen as it rang out, my reflection warped in the black glass. Don't answer, Brooke said, sitting beside me. Let him spiral. Another buzz. This time, a tag notification. Logan Lives. She left me after the prank. A new video. I didn't even open it. I didn't have to. He was already turning my heartbreak into part 2. He didn't miss me. He missed the content. But here's the thing Logan never saw coming. I have content too. Photos, messages, screen recordings, receipts. For every moment, he made me feel small. Every time he used me for clout. Every time he gaslit me into thinking I was being too sensitive. And I wasn't about to drop some petty revenge post. No. I was going to disappear. Let the silence haunt him. Let his followers start asking where I was. Let him fall apart for once. By the time I woke up the next morning, Logan had posted 3 more videos. One was a reaction recap of the prank. One was a half-hearted apology to anyone who might have been offended. And the third, the cherry on top, a sob story called, She Ghosted Me After I Proposed. Proposed. As if that word still meant anything after what he did. I sat on Brooke's couch, wearing the same oversized hoodie I slept in, scrolling through the comments like I was watching a car crash in slow motion. She's so dramatic, OMG. If she really loved him, she'd get the joke. Bro's a legend for this. Wait, she left him? That's toxic. It was all I could do not to throw my phone across the room. And Logan? He was responding to every single one, stoking the fire, calling me sensitive, saying we were just going through a rough patch, and my personal favorite, telling people I'd ruined a beautiful moment. He had millions of followers eating out of his hand. But the ones who knew me, the people who'd been there, who saw the look on my face when I realized it wasn't real, they weren't buying it. That's when I got the DM from Jenna, his sister. Hey, I just want you to know I'm furious. I had no idea he was gonna pull that. I told him it wasn't funny. I told him he went too far. I stared at the message. My fingers hovered above the keyboard. Then I typed, he's making money off humiliating me. You okay with that? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then came back. No, not even a little bit. Turns out, Logan hadn't just crossed a line with me. He was burning bridges all over. By noon, I'd heard from 3 mutual friends, 2 of his sponsors, and 1 of his former managers. All of them were either concerned or so sorry, or didn't realize it would blow up like this. Because this wasn't just a prank gone wrong. It was character revealed on full display. He thought I'd be too embarrassed to speak, that I'd run away and hide, that he'd get all the sympathy, the likes, the brand deals. But I wasn't hiding. I was observing. And I was taking notes. Meanwhile, Brooke was in full crisis manager mode. Bless her soul. She pulled out her laptop and made a list titled, Things Logan Owes You an Apology For That He Never Will, and started typing like her keyboard had personally offended her. I laughed for the first time in 24 hours. Not because it was funny, but because it felt so stupidly freeing to finally name it. To admit, yeah, he treated me like a prop. And no, it's not okay. And I'm not gonna let him control the narrative anymore. I didn't post anything. Not yet. But I logged back into my old private account. The one with barely 300 followers, and no curated grid. The one I hadn't used since college. I uploaded a picture of me on the beach that day. Just me. No Logan, no ring, no smile. Captioned it, Sometimes the fairy tale is just a red flag in disguise. No hashtags, no location, just truth. Within an hour, the comments started rolling in. Not trolls, women. Women who'd been through it, who'd been humiliated, silenced, gaslit into thinking it was just a joke. I wasn't alone. And that was the beginning of everything changing. The first real shift happened at 2:37 p.m. a random Tuesday, barely 24 hours after I posted the beach photo with that one line that said everything, without actually saying anything. No names, no drama, no call out, just quiet honesty. And it hit. Within hours, it had been shared over 3,000 times. By dinner, a beauty blogger I followed had commented, "Sending love, we see you." By midnight, it was on the Instagram stories of 3 of Logan's own mutuals, with one of them writing, "There's always more to the story. He must have seen it. He had to." But for once, he said nothing. No clapbacks, no sarcastic stories, just silence, which, for Logan, was practically a scream. That night, Brooke came home from work, kicked off her flats, and handed me a boba without saying a word, just plopped onto the couch and turned her phone toward me. It was a clip someone screen-recorded Logan's latest livestream before he deleted it. In it, he's pacing around his apartment, voice tight. "So obviously there's been some drama," he says, like he's casually addressing a spilled drink instead of a nuclear meltdown. And, not everyone gets online humor. But I love her, okay? Like, still love her. His chat was filled with stuff like, "Where is she though? Didn't she leave you? You ruined her proposal, bro, WTF. Low-key messed up NGL." He looked rattled, twitchy. I almost didn't recognize him without the smug grin. "I didn't mean for it to go like that," he mumbled. "She's just really sensitive about stuff. Always has been." I thought she'd get over it. There it was. The little trapdoor built into every apology he'd ever given me. I thought you'd get over it. Like his job was to hurt me, and my job was to recover quickly enough to not inconvenience him. I stood up, pacing, heart thumping. "He's scrambling," I muttered. "He doesn't care that he hurt me. He's just upset the audience turned on him." Brooke raised her boba. To men crumbling under the weight of their own egos, we clinked cups. Later that night, I opened my inbox and saw an email from a name I hadn't expected. Mira Chen, PR Director, Lux Beauty Subject, concerning partnership with Logan James I, blinked. Turns out Lux Beauty, one of his biggest sponsors, had gotten wind of the backlash. People were tagging them under every post, demanding accountability. Mira's message was short but sharp. "We were unaware of the context behind Mr. James' recent content. We take matters of emotional exploitation very seriously and are re-evaluating our relationship with him. Thank you for shedding light on this, whether intentionally or not. You are seen." I stared at the screen, stunned. I hadn't tagged them, I hadn't started a campaign. All I'd done was stop being silent, and somehow that had started an avalanche. Because when you stop protecting the person who hurt you, the world finally gets a clearer view of who they really are. Logan had spent years building his brand on being the funny guy, the one who keeps it real. But real wasn't what he wanted when the spotlight turned on him. And trust me, it was only getting started. By Wednesday, Logan had lost 2 brand deals and about 14,000 followers. But that wasn't what got to him. What got to him was me saying nothing. Because Logan could spin a story, deflect heat, charm his way out of most messes, as long as he controlled the narrative. But I wasn't giving him a villain to fight. No messy post, no tell-all thread. Just quiet, steady exposure. And the thing about silence? It's deafening when you're used to being the loudest one in the room. That afternoon, he DM'd me from a burner account. Yep, Logan _ not _ Logan official subtle, right? "Hey, I just want to talk. No pressure. Can we meet just once?" I didn't respond. An hour later, another message. "You know I didn't mean it like that. Everyone's turning on me. I need you to clear things up. Please." That part? I need you to clear things up. Not, "I'm sorry I hurt you." Not, "What can I do to make this right?" Just a classic Logan move, reaching out not to apologize, but to manage optics. I showed Brooke, who was already mid-eye roll. "Did he really think he could gaslight the internet and you?" she said, tossing her phone on the couch. This is like watching a live crash course in consequences. Still, the messages kept coming. From his mom. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I didn't know he was planning that. If you ever want to talk, I'm here." From a girl named Sierra. "Hey, you don't know me, but I dated Logan in college. What he did to you, he did something similar to me. I was too embarrassed to ever talk about it, but seeing your post made me feel braver." And then from someone named Kayla, with 40K followers and a verified badge. I opened the message with one eye closed like I was bracing for a punch. "Hey girl, you don't owe anyone a response, but thank you. Seriously, I was in a public relationship where my pain was always a punchline. Watching you stand in your truth so calmly, it's helping more of us than you know." I blinked. Us. That word hit different. Because somewhere between the heartbreak and the chaos, this stopped being just my story. It became a mirror for 1,000 women who'd been laughed at, dismissed, told they were too much for daring to want basic respect. That night, Brooke and I ordered takeout and watched Logan's subscriber count tick downward in real time. I wasn't gloating? Not exactly. But there was a sense of peace in knowing the truth had legs. I should be more upset, I admitted, halfway through my dumplings. Like, I should be mourning him. But I'm not. Brooke didn't even look up from her noodles. You mourn the loss of love. What you had was a performance. That sat with me. Quietly. Deeply. Because she was right. Logan loved the idea of me. The optics of me. The content potential of me. But not me. And I was done grieving someone who never actually showed up for the relationship he claimed to care about. So when his final message came through, short, desperate, a last-ditch, Hail Mary the First just stared at it. Do you ever think about the good times? I miss us. I closed the app. No response. No closure. No more. Because I did think about the good times. And now, I finally knew. They weren't worth the price I paid for them. Then came this. It dropped on a Friday morning, like a grenade. Video on his channel called Winning Her Back. The truth behind the proposal prank. A full 13 minutes and 42 seconds of Logan in front of a softly lit backdrop, acoustic guitar music playing underneath, the thumbnail of him fake crying with the caption, "I messed up." I wasn't even the one who found it first. Brooke burst into my room, phone in hand, eyes wide like she'd just seen a ghost and her high school bully in the same room. "You need to see this," she said, already bracing for impact. I knew it was bad the second I saw Logan wearing that hoodie. The one I used to steal when I stayed over. The one I left behind. He dug it out of somewhere, probably spritzed it with cologne for nostalgia points. Manipulation 101. And then came the performance. Logan sighing dramatically, rubbing his eyes, doing that thing where he pressed his fists together like he was fighting off a breakdown. You guys, I lost the love of my life. Cue piano chords. I thought I was being funny, I thought we'd laugh about it later. But watching her walk away? That was the worst moment of my life. Oh, now it's a moment, huh? She's the most caring, loyal, thoughtful woman I've ever known. I didn't deserve her. And I just want a chance to make it right. Then the camera cuts to flashbacks, literal clips from our relationship. Me smiling, me laughing, me kissing him on the cheek, all set to freaking Coldplay. I felt like I was watching someone edit my life into a music video. Without asking if I wanted to be in the cast. Brooke paused it halfway through. "He's trying to flip the narrative," she said flatly. "He doesn't want forgiveness, he wants redemption on his own terms." She was right. Because what Logan couldn't handle more than anything was being irrelevant. And losing me? It meant losing the audience's approval. That afternoon, my inbox exploded. People asking if I'd seen it. Commenters flooding my beach photo with questions. Half the internet suddenly divided like it was a celebrity breakup. He seems sincere. Everyone deserves a second chance. You're just trying to cancel him. Girl, don't fall for it. This is manipulation in 4K. And then came the kicker. Logan tagged me in a follow-up post. Tagged me. It was a short clip of him holding a bouquet of roses in front of my old apartment door. "I'm here. I'll wait as long as it takes." He looked directly into the camera and whispered, "Come home." I nearly choked on my coffee. This man was trying to turn my actual heartbreak into the final scene of a rom-com. Like if he just edited it right, scored it with the right music, and dropped the right hashtags, I'd come running into his arms while credits rolled. Brooke stared at me. He's not just doubling down, he's monetizing the pain. And that's when I made a decision. No more silence. No more hinting. No more watching him rewrite history while I stayed quiet out of fear of being called bitter or drama. I was going to speak, but not for clout. For every girl who'd been turned into a punchline and told to just get over it. Because if he wanted views, he was about to get one he couldn't control. I thought it's finally the time for me to speak. I didn't script it. I didn't light it perfectly, or frame it just right, or put on a full face of makeup like I used to when Logan would ask me to look presentable for his content. No filters. No background music. Just me, sitting on Brooke's couch, hair in a messy bun, wearing his old hoodie, not because I missed him, but because it was mine now. I hit record, took a deep breath, and said, "Hi, I'm not doing this for views. I'm not doing this to clap back. I'm doing this because I'm tired of watching someone else profit off a version of me that doesn't exist." I paused. That beach proposal? It wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't a silly prank gone wrong. It was humiliation. It was betrayal. It was weaponized love in front of everyone I cared about and all of you. My voice cracked a little. Not from sadness, from finally saying it out loud. For years I supported him behind the scenes, held the camera, helped with scripts, skipped job opportunities so I could travel with him and keep the brand alive. I was never just the girlfriend. I was the unpaid producer of our shared life. I could feel my hands shaking, but I didn't stop. And when he got on one knee, for a second I believed it. Not because I'm naive, but because I loved him. Because I trusted that even with all his jokes and edits and clickbait, he would never make my heart the punchline. I looked straight into the lens, like I was talking to every version of me who'd ever stayed silent. But he did. And instead of apologizing, he turned it into content, into merch, into a sympathy campaign. I let that hang. Then I said the line that had been sitting on my chest like a brick for days. He doesn't miss me. He misses the access to me. He misses how I made him look. And that is not love. There it was. The truth. Not polished. Not pretty. But real. I ended with, I don't want hate sent his way. I want accountability. I want the women watching this, who've been manipulated, minimized, turned into someone's brand accessory to know you're not crazy. You're not dramatic. You're not too sensitive. You're just finally seeing clearly. And I clicked post. 10 minutes later, I turned off my phone, tossed it across the room and curled up under Brooke's weighted blanket, like it could protect me from the internet. I expected backlash, trolling, maybe pity. But when I turned my phone back on that evening, it was something else entirely. 240,000 views, 19,000 comments, and counting, from strangers, from influencers, from celebrities, not attacking, thanking me. I needed this. This hit harder than I expected. I didn't realize how familiar the story was, until it was mine. Logan hadn't said a word. For the first time, he didn't post a reaction, because deep down he knew. He couldn't edit his way out of my truth. By the next morning, my video had over 2.6 million views. I hadn't cried. I hadn't screamed. I hadn't dropped receipts, or leaked texts, or posted some expose. All I did was tell the truth, calmly, steadily, the way women have to, if they want to be believed. And that was what made it hit. I scrolled through the comments like I was reading my own diary written by strangers. She said everything I wish I could have said to my ex. Not her tone, not her tears. The content, that's what you should be paying attention to. You can hear the grief in her pause. That silence? That was years of being silenced. And then came the shift, the one Logan never saw coming. People started rewatching his videos, with new eyes. His prank proposal suddenly didn't look so funny. That emotional apology in the hoodie now felt scripted. Even his older content, the harmless skits. The couple challenges were getting dissected, picked apart, reanalyzed. Why does he always interrupt her? The way she flinched when he threw that pillow wasn't acting. This feels so different now that we know how he treated her off camera. His follower count dropped like a stone. Brand deals? Paused or fully pulled. The merch site? Crashed from too many refund requests. And Logan? He finally cracked. It was a live stream. Late at night. No setup. No fancy lights. Just him, looking wrecked, in a dimly lit room that looked too quiet for his ego. He was crying. Real tears this time, I think. Or maybe he was just crying for himself. You guys, I messed up. Okay, I admit it. I lost the best thing that ever happened to me. And yeah, I shouldn't have turned it into content. Like I was some thrifted prop he used until it stopped getting likes. Then came the kicker. If you're watching this, I want you to know I still love you. You're the only thing that ever felt real. Brooke and I were watching from her laptop, half laughing, half inhaling popcorn like it was a reality show we didn't audition for. He still thinks this is a love story, she muttered. I didn't say anything. Because in his head, it was. But the love story he thought we had? It ended long before the beach. It ended the first time he called me too sensitive for flinching, when his jokes hit too close. The first time he asked me to redo that take because my laugh wasn't cute enough. The first time he told me, be chill, babe. You're making it weird, when I said I didn't want to be in a bikini for a thumbnail. And now? He was in mourning for a version of me he invented. The comments on his live stream didn't hold back. Bro, you're only sad 'cause the money dried up. You lost her when you chose views over vows. You don't get to be the victim in a story you wrote. And me? I was at peace. Not because he'd finally faced consequences, but because I no longer felt the urge to defend myself. People finally saw what I had lived with for years, and I didn't have to say another word. But there was still one more thing I needed to do. Because if he was going to keep talking about love, then I was going to show the world what it really looks like. After his live stream meltdown, I logged onto Instagram, TikTok, and even the group fitness app we once used together, and hit block on every single one of his profiles, including the burner ones I knew about. Maybe there were more. I didn't care. I was done giving him access to my energy, my name, my narrative. But I wasn't done telling my story. That night, I went live. Just me, the hoodie mine now, forever, and a quiet smile. No script, no drama. Hi, I'm not here to rehash the past. I'm here to talk about what comes after. And then I shared the real truth, the parts that hadn't made it into my last video. I talked about the fear, the way I second-guessed every emotion during our relationship, because Logan would tell me I was too much. The way I'd plan entire days around his filming schedule and get snapped at if I ruined the lighting. The way I laughed at jokes that hurt me because I didn't want to kill the vibe, or worse, the views. I talked about me, not just what I lost, but what I'd buried. My art, my writing, my silly ideas, my spontaneous side. All of it edited out of the version of me that Logan thought was more marketable. And I ended with this. He called it content. I called it love. But love doesn't ask you to shrink. And I'm done being bite-sized for someone else's platform. When I finished, I had hundreds of comments. Thousands, even. And not the usual ones. Women sharing their own stories. People saying, "You're helping me leave too." One woman simply wrote, "I didn't know I was allowed to want more until now." That one made me cry. Like, ugly cry. Because if everything I went through could make just one woman feel like she didn't have to stay small, then it was worth it. The next day, a friend from college DM'd me and asked if I'd consider doing a guest spot on her podcast to talk about healing after humiliation. I said yes. Then another invite came. And another. Soon, I was writing again, speaking again, dreaming big again. And for the first time in years, I wasn't the girl in someone else's story. I was the woman writing her own. Logan still posted, occasionally, usually sad boy stuff, or attempts at growth. But the views? Tanked. The sympathy? Gone. And me? I wasn't watching anymore. I had better things to do than keep tabs on a man who only knew how to love me when people were watching.